everyone. Today we have with us the guru of healthy eating and the maestro of nourishment, Ryan Fernando, a celebrity nutritionist and the founder of Qua Nutrition Clinic. Ryan has dedicated all his life to understand the science of food. He has clients from all over the world, including celebrities like Virat Kohli, Aamir Khan, Shahid Kapoor, to just name a few, who trust his wisdom. So, Ryan, you recently just launched a book. Let's start with you telling us about that book.
So thank you for having me, Parinda. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to be interviewed by people and then you talk about health and wellness. I think the fourth estate is one way where you can build awareness. And it was just logical that I should write a book because, you can counsel only that many number of people in a clinic counseling room, or I can do virtual Skype with people across the world. But a lot of people actually can't afford a nutritionist, or they don't have a time to go to a nutritionist. So what I thought is, hey, I've had thousands of clients slash patients walk in through my clinic doors. We do metabolic testing, genetic testing, food allergy testing, food intolerance testing, and the whole diagnostic works. And then I build nutrition diet plans for people based on scientific diagnostics. And we actually use food as a therapeutic model to heal people. And with these thousands of people walking through the door, obviously you have a crystal ball gazing into the experiences of people. And over a period of time, you kind of like, okay, this person's coming to me. I kind of know the lock and key model to repair this person from a food perspective. And so then I said, you know what, this is great. I'm influencing 100, 200, 500 people a year. But what if I could contact more people? And I'd said, you know what, the best way to do that is make more videos, or still better, let's write a book.
Oh, wow.
And then I thought, now what do I write about? So being a sports nutritionist, I've already written a book on sports. But then I was like, you know what? There are a lot of problems out there which maybe the medical community is not talking about food being the culprit. So I said, let me translate my mini stories from the clinic into my book, my new book called Wheatless. And it's about testing for gluten, which is a culprit protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. Okay. And basically convince people that if you do get tested, then maybe some of the causative problems that are there, hey, you know what? The book might just open up your eyes.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that basically wheat or gluten-free is the new thing that's really important? Or are you saying that it's a fad and it should only be done if necessary and needed?
So I like the word fad because, as a nutritionist, a lot of my predecessors, my gurus, or even people in my community of nutritionists and dietitians and health coaches have written diet books.
Right.
And they subscribe it to a statistical segment of a population. And sometimes more number of people get a benefit out of that diet, and therefore it becomes a fad. It becomes a fashion. Now, I personally believe that nutrition and following a diet should not be fashionable. In fact, the word should be bio-individual, meaning you assess each individual. For example, I am gluten intolerant when I got tested and I ate gluten all my life and I laughed when I got the result. And then I decided to do a 6-week detox of gluten, and lo and behold, my adult acne, which plagued me for my entire life, nobody could solve it. No dermatologist, no Ayurvedic healer, no doctor, no nutritionist. And I studied in Goa Medical College. So I read every possible textbook and I didn't solve it till the age of 36 when I did a gluten DNA test, and it told me I'm allergic to gluten from a DNA perspective. But then I gave it up and then I saw the transition in my body. So that flip in the switch was not a fad. The flip in the switch was testing. So when I did this and then I started Qua Nutrition clinics about 13 years ago, I was like, I'm not going to bring a fad diet to my client or my patient. I'm going to bio-individually test them. And when they get tested, if they come back positive to any condition, and in this case, the gluten condition, then it's my counseling ability to convince a person to give up that croissant, that pastry, that lovely bread, that lovely pizza, that lovely biscuit, that lovely crouton in a soup. And I'm saying this all to you because I miss those things in my food. And it's a personal journey now to say that if I eat gluten now after giving it up after 1 or 2 years, I get a mild headache 4 5 hours later. If I eat it for 2 3 days continuously, then I get loose motion. And if I go for a whole week, I get a nosebleed.
Okay.
But earlier I thought if I had a nosebleed, oh, it's just like there's some dust in the atmosphere and I got a nosebleed. Or my mother had a nosebleed, so I have a nosebleed. Guess what? I tested my mom. She's also gluten intolerant, but at 76, she's refusing to give up gluten. So there's a difference between people following your advice, people testing and coming out positive and still not following your advice. So these are
Right.
the battles I face as a nutritionist to convince people. But I do not recommend that, oh, my neighbor Ryan went off gluten, so I'm also going to go off gluten. No, don't do that. We live in 2023. It's the age of diagnostics, heart rate
Right.
monitors, number of steps, temperature control, humidity control in my AC, right? Google Maps, you know exactly to 1 meter where you are, WhatsApp share. So we've got so much of data. लेकिन हमारा दाल चावल roti, our bread and butter is still cultural and traditional, which I think needs a little bit of science today.
Yeah. So basically, yes. So we should advise people to actually get tested before they follow any diet.
It's much like, if you go to the gym, before you lift a weight, they
You
put
should,
you on a weighing scale. Before you
correct.
start running on the treadmill, they ask you to walk first. So I think before you eat a food, you and me have been served by our parents, love and culture. Nobody has taught us to eat scientifically.
Right.
I am trying to bring to the world the notion that learn about your body, learn about science of eating, learn about portion control. Everyone's talking about global warming.
Mm.
You can be carbon positive. Sorry, I think it's carbon negative. I think you don't want to put
Yeah.
too much of
Yeah.
carbon in the universe by eating lesser food. If people ask themselves this question, what is the perfect BMI? Can I be at the perfect BMI by eating the right amount of food? But we are slaves to our taste buds because we're taught to eat love and culturally, but our parents, mothers specifically, stopped us from overeating till we got to college. After college, there was no boss in the eating scenario. So you ate as you pleased.
Right.
And then when you get married, you're kind of working and you have your marriage and then you both start eating and both start putting on weight. And I see this cascade because I run a nutrition clinic where I have all age groups coming to me.
Right.
And it's the children who are most disciplined because the mothers discipline them.
Correct.
But after that, you are a slave to your taste bud. So you never really ever eat scientifically. You just eat out of stress. You eat out of love. You eat out of happiness, but you never eat out of health. And that's what
Right.
I want people to learn about.
So tell me, Ryan, what made you get into nutrition? What was it that got you into this industry?
In 1996, I was in a lab in Goa Medical College, training to become a clinical biochemist.
Mhm.
And I couldn't see myself pipetting blood samples in those days because we didn't have the automated machine. So I know I did 2000 pipettes a day of taking blood samples, and I was like overlooking a football field in the opposite, and I was like, what if I could be down over there? And I remember mixing up glucose solutions and electrolytes and minerals to give to the local players, and I was like this own um, nerdy professor trying to get into them. What if I could be down there instead of in the lab? And that was where my love of nutrition came in. I did get a scholarship to go and study in Scotland in
Mhm.
the year 1997, 98, when Dolly the sheep was cloned.
Right.
So I got a fully paid scholarship to do my master's in food biotech. And that's where my journey in nutrition started, where I actually worked on enhancing the age of yeast.
Okay.
So yeast is actually used in fermentation.
Right.
Now I went to Scotland where whiskey and beer is brewed, and I never knew I'd get into the nutrition industry when I was there. Was I was like, oh, you've got to make the yeast last longer and give us better performance.
Okay.
Many years later, I was like, hang on, if yeast could do that, what if the human being could be made to perform better? Hence my journey into sports nutrition. And now I'm working on anti-aging,
Okay.
right? So muscle is the only age reversible organ in the human being. Eating the right diet reverses your age. So I am 48 years of age, but
Wow.
touch wood, my metabolic age is 32.
Oh, fantastic.
So can I get those secrets of diet and nutrition? Can I get those secrets of exercise out into the world? So my journey over the years kind of morphed from biochemist to nutrition biotechnology to working for nutritional companies where I sold food products like multivitamins, green tea powders, sports powders, protein powders, energy bars. And then every time I sold this product, everyone asked me, but sir, could you tell me how I could follow my diet?
Hmm.
And so I had this team of dietitians with me whilst we were trying to sell products. And one day I scratched my head and I said, in the last decade, I've always had more requests on how to eat food correctly versus buying the product. And that's how I started my Qua Nutrition clinics, which today is a bespoke clinic. We are about 75 dietitians in this team.
Wow.
And we do everything from medical oncology to weight loss, to thyroid, PCOD, and now we're doing pediatric nutrition. So even
Yeah.
babies' nutrition has to be correct. First trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and of course, me, I love sports. So the celebrities who are the actors, they work out aggressively. The Olympic level superstars or the cricket superstars, they obviously want performance from their body.
Of course.
And so that's my role to kind of find the foods that need to be put onto their plate, how to design the menu, what quantity, what timing, and what portion is kind of. I consider myself a conductor of a nutrition orchestra, and so like
Wow,
I tell
that's a
them,
nice way of putting it. Really nice
yeah.
way of putting it.
So
Yeah.
so people when they eat, there's no plan, so it's all noise. But if you conduct it properly, you can build a beautiful symphony with food. And guess what's humming tomorrow? Your body is humming then.
Correct. Absolutely. I so agree with you. So tell me, what is your take on keto diets, intermittent diets, and the various other diets that people are actually throwing around?
I think the very fact that a person wants to do a diet in today's day and age is a positive thing, though the word diet is negative. We should call it a nutrition
Yeah.
process, a nutrition fashionability. Now, keto for me, or paleo, or intermittent fasting, my only advice to people listening in is, if you do something, have a medical expert or a nutritionist or a dietitian guide you. And let me tell you why. I recently had a lady who, on her own right, after coming out from cancer, well, she did her own diet analysis and started eating a lot of vegetables. And she was only doing a keto diet, so
Mm.
no carbohydrates. And she found out that she could take resveratrol, which is actually an anti-aging supplement. Resveratrol is found from grapes,
Okay.
specifically red grapes. And resveratrol is this very powerful antioxidant, which has tremendous value in lowering certinins, which are type of protein, which basically cause aging. So basically, it regresses aging.
Okay.
But what this lady did not know is that uh, resveratrol, there was one scientific paper which found out that it activated the cancer pathways
Oh,
in breast cancer gene.
oh my God. Okay.
So when people try to do self-fixing with food and supplements, I have had the other end of the spectrum where I see the broken people coming into me. Now, I don't want broken people coming to me. I want healthy people coming to me. It's like go to a garage mechanic. A garage mechanic wants you to bring the car in for a servicing.
Correct.
He hates it when a person brings a car in with a broken axle or a piston ring that's busted, or a wobbly bearing, and then he has to open up everything. And he said only if this person had bought the car in for a checkup every 3 months, we would do it. We wouldn't have to do this breakdown maintenance, which is the equivalent of going to a doctor. So I think the diets followed on your own, my
Mm.
advice would be, don't do it more than 90 days.
Okay.
Do a blood test before and after, specifically your cholesterol or lipid profile, your liver and kidney enzymes, and maybe your vitamin B12, vitamin D. And if you can afford it, do all the vitamins. And then
Right.
do it before and then do it 90 days later. If you find abnormal readings, it means that diet is not working for you, even if you've got amazing weight loss results. I need
Mm.
people to understand that do not chase weight loss as your pure superior goal. Chase great health as your superior goal, and a byproduct of that great health is gradual weight loss. And intermittent fasting, I would put it at the top of my ranking because I believe that the human race is eating too much in urban scenarios. People who have money, who are influential, who have disposable income, or who are too busy in their jobs, children and parents are just eating from outside, eating too much of quantity, eating food that is prepared in the wrong oils with the highly high salt and oil conditions which we know as processed foods, and a lot of refined flour. So these are things that are slapping us a lot. So when
Right.
people do intermittent fasting, it's kind of a way that without me having to tell them you need to eat lesser, I'm like, oh, you know what? I think you need to do intermittent fasting. And
Intermittent.
everyone's like, yeah, intermittent fasting. I'm doing intermittent fasting. And I'm like, dude, you're just eating too much. But when the nutritionist tells you you need to portion, no, I can't do portion control. I'm too stressed out. I work the whole day. I need some energy when I come back home because I worked so hard like a dog and everything. And so it's very entertaining sometimes when I sit in a counseling room. You can just see me kind of doing a stand-up comedy in my head. Now I can't say this to my client because I'm I have incidences where a guy is taking 16 pills, and I'm like, okay, you need to take vitamin C, amla powder, and I want you to take omega-3 supplement. So, doctor, is there any side effect from this product? I'm like, you're smoking 2 packs a day, you're drinking and you're taking 12 medications, and you're asking me whether these three nutritional products have side effect. So sometimes it's like a comedy in my head because the human race abuses the body so badly. And guess what, Parinita? The human body is the most expensive real estate on the planet. I believe my body is a Rolls Royce. I believe your body is a Bugatti Veyron. But when we put auto rickshaw fuel inside of it and we expect miracles, it's a wrong thing. And now what people do, oh, I'm a Rolls Royce. I'm going to go to this garage and do one keto kind of fix to my Rolls Royce. I don't think temporary is the right diet. I think long term
Down.
sustainability of learning to enjoy foods not from a taste bud orgasmic state, but from this, I want to live life in that happiness level. Most of us are taste buds, are slaves to our taste buds. I say become a slave to your thought process, your
Right.
scientific thinking, and your discipline.
Actually, you've already answered my next question, which I thought was an important one, which is weight loss is often the main motivator for people seeking a plan. But is this a sustainable approach? Well, the answer is obviously no.
And the simplest way that you can work with weight loss is, yes, you did gain weight over a period of time.
Right.
Please stand on a weighing scale. Don't look at the weight as an absolute measure. So let's say you stand on a scale and you are 80 kgs and you're 10 kgs overweight.
Hmm.
Ask the question, does my weighing scale have a fat percentage and a visceral fat and a muscle percentage? Because muscle is the only age reversible organ.
Right.
Muscle is the fat burning organ. So a lot of people, when they lose weight, they starve the muscle. The muscle says, hey, buddy, I'm not too happy with you. I'm going to go into catabolic state. Simple English. I'm going to do self-suicide and clear off myself. And hey, I'm very happy. I lost weight.
Hmm.
But fat is like this very miserly molecule. In India, we say conjuice molecule, sits over there and says, hey, boss, you do whatever you want. I'm sitting around for the next decade. By the way, Parinita, nobody tells people when they try to lose weight, especially when you go to slimming clinics, slimming doctors, or any weight loss coach, they don't tell you fat cells reside in your body for 8.2 years.
Hmm.
So let's say the person's 80 kgs, loses 10 kgs with Ryan Fernando on Ryan Fernando's diet. Oh, this is a fat cell. And the fat cell becomes really tiny. Now, suddenly, this person decides to go to Maldives for a holiday for 6 weeks. And they decide, you know what? I lost 10 kgs. Yeah, it's my God given right to enjoy. So, alcohol, food, seafood, this food, every food. Hang on, that cell did not disappear. It's still in your body and it goes back to its shape. You need an 8.2 year plan for your weight loss journey. And muscle resides in your body for 14 years. So if you can build better muscle, your next decade classroom reunion, you will look better than everybody else because everyone's doing the unscientific weight loss, which is only the weighing scale. Look at your fat percentage, look at your muscle percentage. Use exercise and grow your muscle with the correct bio individual diet so that when you don't, and women do this, they go into negative diet, hair goes for a toss, skin goes for a toss, periods go for a toss, skin starts sagging, and so many other things start sagging. But the fact of the matter is, when people come to me for weight loss, they're like, dude, you're making me eat so much. Are you sure? I've had film stars question me 16 times in the first month. And when I was younger, I was like, I would give like a barrage of scientific explanation. Now it's like, dude, you see this photograph? This is the person I worked with. Wow. Follow what I say. If you don't get the result, I'll refund your money.
Okay.
Because the confidence doesn't come from what I'm saying. The confidence comes from data. Right. Every individual is bio-individual and everyone has a metrics. If you work correctly within that metrics, and the problem is people don't get the results. Aam Aadmi don't get the result. Normal people don't get the result. It's because they don't have a gun to their head to perform. For example, film stars, celebrities, sports stars, their profession relies on them to have their body as an outcome of their potential earning. Right? So if somebody told me, I'm going to pay you $5 million to get a six-pack.
Oh, I'd work on it.
Yeah, exactly, right? You'd get Ryan Fernando on board. You'd get like the 100%. Celebrity trainer and everything. So I think a kind of discussion like this would be, I would just give people this one advice. Walking is the best fat exercise. Right. I recommended to Aamir Khan to do 38,000 steps a day. I'd done the calculation and that required 5 hours of walking. And he enabled that between his morning workout and evening workout. Now, who has the time to work out in the morning and evening and go for a 5-hour walk?
Wow.
But he had to do it.
1 hour of walking and I think I've achieved a big milestone.
So I need to give you this piece of information because Parinita, everyone does 1 hour of walking, which is approximately in, I think, 7,500 steps at the maximum.
7,000 steps.
Weight maintenance is 10,000. Weight maintenance, which means you won't gain weight, you won't lose weight. But let's say you come to me and say, Ryan, I want to lose 5 kgs. So to lose 5 kgs, I need to hit 15,000 steps.
Oh.
So that I get a 1 kg fat burn every month. And then go for 5 months. So now you're like, Ryan, oh my God, 15,000 steps is like 2 hours of walking. Who has time for 2 hours of walking? Your celebrities have time for walking. I don't have time. I have my job. I have my family. I have this. I'm like, so how do we do it? We do it by consistency on the exercise to hold. Weekends, you do a little bit extra. And you do a cheat meal once a week, which psychologically gives you the calmness that you've got something for your psychology. But the rest of the time, so 7 threes are 21, 7 meals in a day. If you're doing 3 meals a day, 21 exposures, around 18 or 19 are bang on portion control, protein content, carbohydrate as complex, fat as the essential fats and not the fats that are bad for your health.
Wow. So how do you advise your clients when they're struggling with their relationship with food? Because I think Indians have a relationship with food. How do you manage that?
It's very, very true what you pointed out. It's very astute of you to point out. But I think it's just a sense of observing everyone around us and the wisdom and everyone saying that I have a problem with food. And we actually do a genetic testing in my clinic where there are 3 behavioral genes. Tendency to overeat, tendency to snack, and tendency to have emotional eating. Now, if people have one of the 3, I have had obese people have all 3. So then it is not a psychological problem. It is a genetic element that you have inherited. So I remember this one very obese client, he looked at me very dejected and he says, are you telling me I've paid you so much of money and now you're telling me I have to blame my parents for this? And I was like, hang on. Yes, but then there is the environment. Environment is your epigenetics or your ability to control your thinking and therefore your behavior. So, for example, I can't disclose a lot of my celebrity clients' data, but let me disclose my data.
Mm.
I have a snacking gene. I'm a skinny guy, but at 9 o'clock at night, you'll find me rummaging my fridge to eat something.
Okay.
So now what's the psychological thing? I want to eat. What is the physiological thing I will do? I'll tell my domestic help to keep cut carrot, cut cucumber, some hummus. There'll be one energy bar. Array, dates, don't talk about dates. If I see dates, I will eat 6 or 7 dates, which cause fat gain for me.
Oh,
So,
really?
so this identification of gene has made me have better peace saying that I can slap myself on the face because if I know I'm born with the back foot of a genetic to overeat or emotionally eat, I can bring about coping mechanisms. I can bring about a nutrition plan. I can
Mm.
bring about so many other things that you can do. Like, for example, a simple tip I tell people who have a tendency to overeat or emotionally eat, as soon as you finish eating, brush your teeth.
Okay.
Because when food remains in your mouth, guess what? Taste buds like, oh, you had biryani. A piece of biryani comes 1 hour later. I think I'm hungry again. Signal goes to the brain. That's one tip.
That's a good tip.
Brush your teeth after every meal. It'll help in the weight loss. Second,
And your teeth will be better. So it's a double whammy.
yeah, so you have a fresh taste, right? So you don't have this craving to go back to food again. And then drink mineral water or alkaline water, water with pink salt, or do like what I do. I do a little bit of dilute black tea and keep sipping it through the
Okay.
day. So it's like it's not with sugar; it's just plain water, but it's flavored with tea, which tends to have a fat burning effect. Uh, the other thing that I recommend to people is that replace your tea and coffee out of milk. I did this survey in a leading corporate. So every year I get invited to leading corporates and deliver lectures over there. So we did this survey in a top Fortune 500 company here in Bangalore, India, known as the Silicon Valley of India,
Right.
wherein, uh, so the first thing we found out is that constipation was the first problem and people were not
Mm.
hydrating enough. So drinking water every day, so water can help you in weight loss. The
Right.
other thing that we did is we found out that the people who are drinking 3 or 4 or 5 cups of tea or coffee with milk and sugar, a
Right.
2 cup with milk or sugar in a year is a 5.5 kg weight gain when we worked out the calorie content for
Oh
the
my
full year.
God.
It was something like 55 liters of milk that you'll drink in the whole year.
Wow.
And 1 cup of tea or coffee was 2.5 kgs weight gain.
In the
But
year.
in a
Wow.
year, but black tea or black coffee without milk or without sugar is 0 calorie.
Mm.
So small changes in your life, like walking regularly, limiting your rice or your grain or your chapatis in your diet, um, cutting out the dessert, sharing your desserts with people. These are things you really don't need to come to a health coach or a nutritionist to actually do. It's common sense.
Right.
But Parinita, what I've seen is that common sense eludes even me as a nutritionist, where you succumb to the temptations of your taste buds and your genetic behavior. So I believe that a health coach, a nutrition coach, helps make you accountable. Like I keep telling my wife, why don't you stop me from going to the fridge? She says, I'm your spouse. I'm not your bodyguard. You do not want to eat. That's your problem. So I recruit a nutritionist so that every month when I meet her, I'm accountable to her with my weight measurement. And I confess to her, like, you know what? Yeah, month of May, I kind of ate 6 mangoes a day. Oh, so that's why
Mm.
you gained 2 kgs of fat. So I've actually gained 2 kgs of fat in the mango season, right?
So
So
you go to a nutritionist. Why would you go to a nutritionist?
because
You
of
need a bodyguard.
compliance and accountability. You see, Parinita, when was the last time you and I were held accountable in college?
Absolutely right.
You're not even accountable to your spouse. I'm not accountable to my spouse. Yeah, health wise, maybe she'll pick and choose on me. But you
Mm.
know what? The spouse will be like, "Are you're tired? Just go and eat something." But your nutrition will be like, "No, no, 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 no. You have a cholesterol problem. You have a BP problem. You can't do the." So when you go there, you're like, out of sight, out of mind. Which is why do we have exams when we do any course? Even if you do an executive MBA at the age of 40, they have exams to test where you are, milestones. Otherwise, you're not going to be uh, responsible to the
Yeah.
art of learning. How are you going to be responsible to the art of eating unless you hold yourself accountable? So I genuinely believe, in fact, the other day somebody asked me, are you afraid of artificial intelligence and losing your job? I was
Mm.
like, well, ChatGPT is already making diet charts, but I know hundreds of software companies that have come in and made automatic diet charts, apps and everything. And every one of those clients end up coming to my clinic because they're like, dude, we like coming and talking about it.
Correct. That's very true. That's very true. I don't think it can replace whatever. I mean, somebody who's genuinely wanting a bodyguard will come to a nutritionist. And that's what helps, really.
And it's also human behavior, no? When you talk it out, when you chat with somebody, I mean, just the whole fact that I have a yoga instructor, I have a Pilates instructor, I have a, um, a strength and conditioning coach. I could buy a high-end German luxury vehicle, and I chose just to buy a simple vehicle and put all of that EMI expense into the trainer because I believe rather than buying the German luxury vehicle, I am a Rolls Royce.
Yes.
So I
like
want
that.
people to get that.
Yeah.
The day you realize that your house, your mobile phone, the Gucci that you wear, the Satya Paul that you buy, the Rolex watch or the Garmin watch, these are inconsequential to your personal real estate, which is your body.
Absolutely.
And the moment you start changing small things, like, for example, going organic, there was an experiment done where they gave children juices made with normal vegetables. I think this was done in the UK. And then they gave them organic juices and they showed a washout of pesticides over 7 weeks. And there was like a 90% reduction. So those pesticides and insecticides are coming in through our liver and kidney. People are like, oh, why are we getting so much of cancer today? Why are we getting so much diabetes, hypertension? Has anyone asked, what is our food grown on? Whilst we want to put more food on the plates and reduce poverty, those that of us are eating more than that is required are actually getting a double dose of pesticides.
Correct.
Because you're eating more calories and then it's loaded with pesticides for normal calories, and then there's a double dose. So I think going organic is something that I want to tom-tom, I want to clap my hands about. Being physically active, invest in a personal trainer. Yours is an amazing magazine about wellness. Getting a massage, getting sauna. Research is showing that getting a sauna twice a week actually reduces your all-cause mortality.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm getting a sauna twice a week now. So I'm already Googling up where can I get a portable sauna to put on my small terrace and stuff like that.
Wow.
And
the little spa you have created for yourself.
Because it's not only nutrition, it's kind of everything. What about breath? Nobody's talking about breath today. There was a research done when you exercise, if you breathe through your nose, you actually have better performance, and therefore the indirect thing is greater calorie burn, which I want you from tomorrow onwards, Parinita, when you go for your walk, I'd like you to breathe only through your nose.
Okay. That's good. That's very doable because it's very
doable. If you can't do it, tape up your mouth. So everyone will be like, hey, Parinita, hi, good morning. But the whole idea is you're going to get a more efficient fat burning.
So tell me all this, so many people in India are becoming very conscious about their nutrition, wellness. Have you seen a change in the landscape in the last decade or so?
I've seen a change in the landscape after the pandemic.
Yes.
That, the day the pandemic hit India, I sat down with my team, and I had a massive team. And I'm not a funded company. I built this by sweat and blood, my nutrition clinics. And I don't come from privileged background. So it was everything put together and the team built it. And I sat with my team and I said, we are either going to be decimated or we are going to blossom. And within 6 weeks of the pandemic, the world realized you have 5 Mercedes-Benz in the garage, 15 homes, 2 in Goa, 10 in Bangalore. You have 15 Gucci outfits, Prada outfits. I've had a client who called me up and he says, dude, I can't get a hospital bed and I'm worth 40,000 crores.
Wow.
He says, do you have a contact to get me a hospital? And he says, you know what? If I survive this, I'm getting my entire family to only focus on their health for the rest of their life. One body, you can't replace it. It's the most expensive real estate. So people realized in the pandemic, exercise, wellness, nutrition, meditation are the key pile drivers. What's the problem? Weak human spirit, responsibility to society, job, earning, the the temptation of money, and therefore the stress that comes with acquiring that and not being happy with what you already have. It's easier said than done, but I think this has seismically shifted post the pandemic. And for me to see me having before the pandemic 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Yes, sir, we do this. So the medical nutrition manager, oh, you're too expensive. The doctor only charges 2,000 rupees, but your nutrition plan is 7,500 for a full. That is very bad. Now it's like, hi, can I buy an annual plan with you guys? Can I do the genetic? So now it's like, I'm like, can I explain to you what's it all about? No, we know everything. We've done our research. And so there is a good segment of society that is now getting that disposable income. They're choosing not to splurge it on alcohol and eating out every day. They're finding a trainer. They're going for more spa sessions. Like, I don't know about you, but I talk to people in hotels, and hotels that have spas have higher subscription rates now
Absolutely.
on
Absolutely.
people coming into holidays and just staying in hotels because they just want the spa treatments.
Very true. And even the hotels, if you see, they're going beyond just a massage in the spa. They're actually creating wellness packages, wellness programs, which is good because we always say it's not just about the massage, it's about a lifestyle that you have to adopt. And massage is part of that lifestyle that you have to adopt. So, exercise,
Absolutely.
nutrition, spa, everything is all an integral part of what you have to do.
The most difficult thing about my profession and the part of everyone as a player in nutrition is that you shower once a day, you sleep once or twice a day, you kind of work once, twice in the day in the terms of a long stretch. But eating is like multiple meals unless you're on one meal a day. And so I tell people, when you do that eating, you can't do naam ke vaste, you can't do fly by the pants kind of eating. And so another tip that I'd like to give people is to be logistically planned. So Parinita, I know where I am every day of the week, which office, which clinic, which city. So if I am, let's say, coming to your city, I will be staying in that city. That chef in that hotel will be informed that I am gluten sensitive, that I would like a biryani that is only 180 grams, of which the meat is 100 grams and the rice is 80 grams. And they're like, oh, we just it's like, I'll pay for your full biryani, but what comes to my room, don't send me that 400-gram biryani. And people say, no, but I travel, I can't ask the hotel to do portion control. They have a weighing scale in the room. And hotels have become so amazing today. I've had a chefs ask me, sir, would you like organic basmati rice in your biryani? I'm like, dude, you do that? It's like, sir, you tell me what you want in your biryani and I'll get it done for you. So I says, why are you going and pleasing people? He says, sir, because you'll come back and stay with us. Instead of staying 2 days, next time you'll tell your wife, I want to stay an extra day because I'm getting Garka Khana healthified by Ryan Fernando. So that's the whole perspective. We need to be logistically planned. We can't have that lazy bone in us. Arey, I'm traveling, yeah, so let me eat whatever I get.
No binge. So, okay, tell us some tips to avoid sugar craving. Because, like I said, we Indians have this meet after every meal kind of a story. How do you fight your sugar cravings?
Today's newspaper said that diabetes went up by 44% in the last few years. And that was like, I think it was not alarming for me because I genuinely believe that people are now beginning to test. And that's why we're discovering it. We were always a sweet tooth country. Okay. We celebrated food. Obviously, it comes from, if you see the British stories and historical stories, they tried to starve us. Food became a celebration. Food became a thing to control the country. Poverty was thrust upon us. We were one of the richest countries, and then you get into poverty. So the only way you could celebrate happiness was eating well, sweets, sandesh, gulab jamun, rasgulla, rasmalais, bibinka. And what that has done in generations to generations as a hand-me-down is that you have to have a sweet to enjoy life.
Right.
But when I approach a case, I ask a person, do you have a craving for sugar? The moment I eat magnesium, my craving for sugar disappears. The moment I have a craving for sugar, I take chromium. I crave sugar. Craving is an evolutionary response to the fact that you're mineral deficient. And so you will be gravitated to nature's sweetness, which is fruits. You will go in search of a tree that has fruits and eat more of that fruit ripening on that tree in the seasonality, and your sugar craving is gone. Nature had a very mean way of not giving you fruits throughout the year. However, fast forward to the 20th, 21st century, we have agriculture, year round produce, supermarket availability. Hang on, hang on. We are now at, I click a button and my vegetables and fruit are delivered to my, hang on, hang on. E-commerce, Zomato, Swiggy, all of these guys will deliver within 13 minutes to my doorstep, which means the temptress is not outside. The temptress is available instantaneously. And what is this temptress? The desire to eat. How do I combat that? First, discover whether it is actually a biological deficiency, which can come only with diagnostic testing. So half a dozen women that have PCOD condition, I have sugar craving. Obviously, you have sugar craving. You have insulin resistance because of cysts in your ovary. And you got cysts in your ovary because you're eating too much of fatty food, which behaves like phytoestrogen, which goes and slaps your ovary and creates cysts, which tells insulin stop behaving itself and may become very resistant. So bodies are like, I'm not getting any response to insulin. Insulin feels like a slighted partner. So it says, I'm not going to do anything till you give me more sugar, dump more sugar, gain more weight. Cyclic process. That's just one condition. I could go a whole hour on thyroid.
Right.
I could go a whole hour on your parents programming you in the womb. And if pregnant women are watching this, sugar craving, obesity, heart attacks is being imprinted in the womb by the mother for up to 2 generations. So if I suffer from heart disease, it is the fault of my grandmother and my mother. But what I could do to change it to the next generation is not force feed my child, which many Indian parents do. And that is where this craving philosophy comes in. I do have many global clients and they don't have this craving issue because they're taught this is the time, this is you eat, supper is done by 5 o'clock in the evening. In India, we eat till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You're eating too close to your sleep segment where your detoxification. So I could go on and hours of information. This is what we do in counseling.
Right.
When we give a person a little bit of science, like, oh, you're absolutely right. You know what? When I ate outside at my office yesterday, that night I didn't sleep very well. Dude, yesterday, last week, a study was launched which said that junk food eaten affects the deep sleep cycle, which is the rejuvenation cycle. So the next day, your heart will beat faster. This was not in the study. I know this as a sports nutritionist. So you eat junk food, you don't get the deep sleep. So next day, body says, "Arey yaar, you didn't sleep. So I have to bajao my heart to circulate more oxygen nutrition to keep you awake." But when your heart bajaos more, heart says, "Arey bhai, give me more sugar." So the next day you crave more sugar because the previous day you junk food because you had bad sleep. All of this is getting linked, and doctors, which I have been shouting for the last decade, personalized nutrition. Now doctors, mainstream doctors on social medias, specifically in India and America, are talking about diet and nutrition.
Right, that's true.
And they don't train in nutrition. So I've taken on a few doctors saying that, oh, you read scientific papers, but you're not formally trained in nutrition. So the proof is actually not in the pudding. The proof is in deciding how you think about food, how you biologically have evolved from your parents, and what is your imprinting in your womb, and what is the parental behavior. For example, Parinita, fathers that smoke, their children will smoke.
Yes, mostly. That's true.
Most of the time, because
because
I sneeze exactly like my father. I talk exactly like my father. I shout exactly like my father. I recently caught my son sneezing, and I looked at my wife and I was like, he sneezes exactly like my father, like his grandfather. And she says, no, he sneezes like you. And so children pick up what we do. So if you do not want to do diet correctly, do it for your kid, because your kid will watch you eating healthy. Your kid will watch you working out. Your kid will watch you meditating. Your kid will watch you being moderate in your drinking. Your kid will watch you not getting sloshed on the weekend and realize that you're a very responsible parent, because on Sunday morning you get up and go out with your kid instead of lazing in bed because you've drunk 400 ml of alcohol. So this is what I experience in closed doors. And so to translate this to behavior out there in the world, I would say parents need to get responsible on diet and exercise to influence subsequent generations from not imploding in a pandemic of not COVID, but of immoral eating is what I would like to call it. And I say immoral because of the load on the planet that you do, the side effect that you put on your family, and all of that.
So, can you tell us three foods or three ingredients that everybody should cut out of their diet?
That's easy. One is the sugar that you'll put in your desserts or the pastries on the biscuits or in the Tetra packs or in your chai cup. Any packet that you take it up and see added sugar. I was sitting on a flight and somebody said, "Oh, there's this Tetra pack. I won't take the name, but it's a cut shape of a bottle and it's plastic paper, like." And they looked at it and it's some boat stuff. And if you got what I'm talking about, oh, this has about 6 teaspoons of sugar. That guy's like, "No, but it says healthy. It says panna. That should be healthy." I was like, 6 teaspoons of sugar. If I came to your house, would you serve me? Would you serve me lassi with 6 teaspoons of sugar? No. How much sugar? Sir, I'll put 1 teaspoon. No, you're a nutritionist. You're not nutritionist. I'll give you 2 teaspoons. So sugar is number one.
Okay.
Number two is try to not eat outside because all restaurants use palm oil, including 5-star hotels. Palm oil is the worst oil. In fact, in the pandemic, the import duty on palm oil was dropped because they were not able, due to farming, to produce enough of oil. So they imported so much of palm oil, and it's because it's flavorless and odorless. All people like it because it creates a beautiful melody in the food, but it does havoc inside of your body in terms of plaque and heart disease and palmitic acid. Omega-9, which is the inflammatory fatty acid, is very bad. And could be one of the reasons why a lot of people are facing heart problems.
Right.
The third thing is pesticides and insecticides. I know people don't eat and drink insecticide, pesticides.
But it's there in the food.
But it's there in the food. So could you take your grain, staples, which is your rice, your grain, your pulses, your legumes, tomato, onion, carrot, potato. This is what we Indians eat. And if you're a global magazine, wherever you are in the world, insecticides and pesticides are being sprayed. So try and find produce that is not sprayed with that. And that's one component. So that's sugar, insecticides, pesticides. What was the third one?
Palm oil.
Palm oil, yeah. It's a long day. My brain is shutting down from the counseling.
That's okay. And is there a particular food that you consider as a secret weapon for health and well-being?
There are a lot of foods there, Parinita. And I'd like to give you a quick rapid fire for them. One, Indian gooseberry, amla. I believe it's the king of the Avenger superhero kind of family. Amla is so powerful, the pharmaceutical industry does not want you to know that 15 grams of amla powder every morning can reduce your cholesterol by 30 basis points. So anyone with cholesterol, start taking 2 fresh amlas without sugar. Amla, bad taste, crunch it up, pickle it in vinegar, or just get powder. I hate the taste. 2 teaspoons of amla powder to have alkaline water after that. Second, pomegranate seeds are known to reverse plaque by up to 35% if consumed every day for 1 year. There was a study done. So if you've already damaged your body for 20 years, start eating pomegranate seeds. What I do in my clinic, because I don't have time to eat, because I'm back to back with patients or clients, they will take the pomegranate, they'll blend it, they'll throw the seeds back in the blender, they'll blend it again, put into that. I'll drink this juice, which is thick with the seeds, and I'll have it. The seeds contain something known as beta-sitosterol, which is a plaque reducer.
Wow.
A very powerful antioxidant compound. Beta-sitosterol is also found in pistachios. Okay. So 10 pistachios taken at night, unsalted, will give you deep sleep because it's high in melatonin, and it also has beta-sitosterol, which cleans you up. And pistachios have a secret compound in that pink skin on it, which all of us kind of flick off and throw it off. That secret skin on pistachios is known to cross the eye barrier and improve stem cell production, which helps in ocular or macular regression. So greater sight, greater eyesight, pistachios. Final guy that I want to give you, there are so many competing in my head up there. walnut. Very powerful.
Okay.
Very, very powerful. At night, 2 to 3 walnuts. You can skip a meal, but have your walnut. Walnuts good in melatonin, very high vegetarian source of omega-3, good source of protein. And I love walnut because there was this Chinese research paper which says that in some district in China, they used 100 grams of walnut powder on colon cancer cases to
Wow.
reverse polyps that were happening. So I was like, hang on, what if I give all my Indian clients walnuts every day? Great for brain performance, omega
Yeah.
3, good sleep, and it's like municipality cleaner for my gut.
Oh,
Right
great.
now, people say, "Hey, Ryan Fernando, these are all expensive stuff you're talking about." Okay, let's go cheap. Tulsi,
Okay.
moringa, which is drumstick leaves. Make moringa chutney in every Indian household. I believe every house should have a moringa tree outside of it. India should just grow moringa trees. It's got amazing antioxidant properties. India is predominantly anemic. 60 to 70% of our country women are anemic, and therefore we need to have moringa, which is a potent hemo booster, which is basically boosting your hemoglobin. Hem means iron in Greek. Globin is protein, so your iron protein, which carries blood and oxygen. So most of the people who have anemia are very tired. The
Right.
moringa is the one. I think beyond that, I think my dietitian teams will be, Ryan Fernando, please stop speaking. You're giving away all our secrets. Nobody will come to us for diet counseling anymore.
They will, I'm sure. Okay, so now let me move to a fun question. What is the most challenging part about working with celebrities when it comes to nutrition?
They know more than us.
Okay.
It's the most challenging part because you've got to appreciate them for, I'm working with Shahid Kapoor and he's so educated. Abhishek Bachchan, when I worked with him, he knew exactly what my genetic test and the gluten sensitive was all about. So whilst
Hmm.
I'm like, gluten is a protein, it's gluten and gliadin. He's like, yeah, da, 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 da. I'm like, dude, did you study science? He's like, no, it's just an interest. So the celebrities tend to understand that they need to have this knowledge to become more powerful. Their
Right.
body is the most expensive real estate. The Aam Aadmi, on the other hand, is like, I need food to kind of give me happiness, not performance. So that's the most difficult thing with celebrities. And the other difficult part with celebrities is that they have such busy schedules. um, Politicians, people take out the whip and beat up politicians, and I feel sorry for politicians because people assume they're only corrupt, but they work
Hmm.
harder than most people on this planet.
True.
The reason being is because I have seen schedules of politicians given to me by their PAs. They get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and they are already with people outside their door because their constituents want something for them. They can't even take a holiday without picking up the phone. So, working with such celebrities who are so busy, just to get them to listen to you for 5 minutes,
Hmm.
sir, you need to eat 11 o'clock. I said, Ryan, what do you want me to do at 11 o'clock? Some guy is there sitting in front of me. How can you ask me to eat apple and green tea at that time? So I'm like, sir, I got an idea. So I told the PA, every time somebody comes at 11 to 11:15 appointment, you give sir and you give everyone apple. Sir, we can't give apple. Apple is not Indian food. Arre bapre, okay. Take local fruit, give everyone local fruit. You hide sir's plate and give him apple because I want apple for fiber and weight loss. Sir, we put the skin or we don't put the skin? No, no, you get organic apple for sir and give him with the skin because it got quercetin to reduce sir's blood pressure. This is the way we work with celebrities. And the
Hmm.
compliance is a little difficult from their end because they have the PAs or they have the assistants or they have people who sometimes don't get the requirement of this. But no, I had my lunch, so sir's also having his lunch. But they don't understand that this sir, whether a film star, sports star, or a politician, is their mind is working 50,000 cycles a second.
Right.
So that's the difficulty with the celebrities.
Okay. And the last question. I know we've really gone beyond our time schedule, but I mean, it's been so interesting. Actually, I could probably go on for another hour, but no, I'll leave that for another time. So, have you ever had to prepare a celebrity for a role, and what has been the process?
Oh, so many of them. So many of them. I mean, there were different roles. For example, obviously Aamir Khan worked with
Yeah.
me because he wanted to know the Dangal movie where he
Yeah.
was a wrestler, right? So he's a thoroughbred actor, and his methodology is like deep dives. And so he's like, okay, he got Sushil Kumar. So Sushil Kumar is two-time Olympic medal winner who happened to be on my nutrition plans when he won both
Right.
his medals. So like, आप Dr. Ryan से बात कीजिए, which is talk to Dr. Ryan. He has done my diet. So that's how I started working with Aamir on his preparation from the 90. We did his genetic testing, we did his nutrition plan, and then make him lose weight down there. I worked with Abhishek Bachchan. My biggest transformation for me to kind of chest thump would be Fardeen Khan.
Okay. All
So
right.
Fardeen Khan's made a comeback, and he was really, really in not the greatest of shapes. And that man transformed his life first by learning about nutrition
Mm.
and medicine in the human body. And then when he brought me on board to work with him for a year, that was life changing for me. Watching him transition his body with mental grit without any specific role to go to.
Right.
And then I have life changing roles wherein you have somebody like Virat calling me up and saying that, Anushka is expecting, and we would like you to help out with the diet plan. And so that diet is changing the body for a role which is not six pack, but what I call as the baby pack, right? And so after the baby is born, how do we do the weight loss?
Right.
And that's an occupational hazard, which I now have a unique baby weight loss program, which every
Okay.
mother wants to get back into shape within 6 months after having their first, second, or third child. So these are the life changing celebrity kind of roles we have had. And nowadays they are more towards the health direction. Like
Right.
Shahid Kapoor has not come for any morphing role. It's come
Mm.
for specificity of microbiome testing, the genetic testing, the omega-3 testing. Ryan, how do I integrate all of this into my Ayurvedic practice with my Ayurvedic guru? So those are the two universes that I have to kind of align, and it's a lot of fun. Actually, it's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah. So on this note, I'm going to have to close this interview. And Ryan, it's really been interesting talking to you. And I'm sure, I mean, I've got many takeaways from this, and I'm sure our viewers are going to have many, many takeaways from this interview. And like I said, very much looking forward to meeting you personally.
Done. We're going to have green tea together without milk and
Or,
sugar.
yes. And what about the chicken? You forgot the lunch.
We will do, and then I'll have to source organic grilled chicken for you. All right. So
Yes.
we'll do that.
We'll do that.
Thank you so
All
much for
right.
having me.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you
God
so much.
bless you.
Bye. Bye.